Marilyn Monroe remains one of Hollywood's most enduring figures, an icon whose vulnerability and glamour captivated audiences worldwide.
It's a very happy time. I'm happy to be back. As I said, it's my hometown.
Yes.
Well, you're a happy girl now.
When you go to London?
Yet behind the image lay a serious student of her craft, someone who revered those who came before her, and those who, in her eyes, exemplified the very best in performance. Through extensive research and her own words, a picture emerges of the actors and performers Monroe most admired. Here we count down her 10 favourites, offering a glimpse into the artistry that shaped her. Richard Widmark, best known for his intense performances in film noir classics such as Kiss of Death, earned a place among Monroe's favourites for his ability to embody menace and vulnerability in equal measure.
You think a squealer can get away from me?
Monroe appreciated actors who could reveal the layers beneath their characters, and Widmark's portrayal of complicated men resonated with her own quest for authenticity. She once remarked, "An audience can always tell when someone is faking it. Richard never faked a thing." Widmark's lean, taut performances contrasted sharply with the more polished stars of his era. It was that rawness, that refusal to play to the gallery, that Monroe found so compelling. His influence can be traced in her later, more nuanced roles, where she sought to uncover the emotional truth beneath the glamour. A swashbuckler, a romantic lead, and a figure of undeniable charm, Tyrone Power captivated Monroe from an early age.
Awfully hurt at being left out.
Well, if he wanted to keep in with her, he shouldn't have said those terrible things about her and her chauffeur. The unfortunate part about it is that all...
Watching him on screen, she was struck by his effortless grace and magnetic presence. He had this light about him, Monroe told a confidant, you couldn't look away. Power's blend of charisma and seriousness would prove formative for Monroe, who aspired to balance her sex appeal with substantive acting. She admired how Power managed to elevate his often lightweight material, injecting sincerity into even the most fantastical plots. Few actors commanded the screen quite like Charles Laughton.
He's got a lacing of tiger's blood in him. Phew. This ain't exactly a flower garden, is it?
Whether portraying the tormented Quasimodo or the tyrannical Captain Bligh, Laughton's performances were studies in total immersion. Monroe, who had a deep-seated fear of being seen as just a movie star, saw in Laughton the blueprint for transcending typecasting. Charles Laughton became the people he played. Monroe once observed, "You didn't see the actor, you saw the soul." His capacity for physical and emotional transformation deeply influenced Monroe's own method, particularly as she moved into more challenging roles later in her career. Cary Grant represented for Monroe the epitome of sophistication and wit. His seemingly effortless charm and comedic timing dazzled her.
Just look and see what's in that window seat.
No! No, Aunt Abby, don't.
Cary could make you laugh with a glance, she said in an interview. He was elegant but never distant. You felt he was in on the joke with you. Grant's ability to combine humor with genuine feeling was something Monroe worked hard to emulate. In films like Some Like It Hot, one can see the traces of Grant's influence, the twinkling eye, the throwaway line loaded with subtext, the dance between vulnerability and bravado. Marlon Brando's arrival in Hollywood heralded a new era of acting, one Monroe wholeheartedly embraced.
Now that's how I'm going to clear the table.
His visceral, emotionally charged performances in A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront electrified her. They also reinforced her belief that acting should be lived, not performed. Marlon made everything real, Monroe confided to a friend. You felt like you were spying on something you shouldn't see. That's what I wanted. Their personal relationship, warm and supportive, only deepened Monroe's admiration. Brando's fearless honesty became a standard she continually aspired to meet. Known primarily for her dazzling dance routines alongside Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers was, in Monroe's view, much more than a musical comedy star.
Well, had a nice time, did you?
Just keen.
You know, come Christmas, maybe I'll buy myself a scalp massage.
Same treatment?
You bet.
She admired Rogers' versatility, her ability to shift from breezy charm to heartfelt drama with apparent ease. Ginger wasn't just tapping her feet, Monroe once said. She was telling you a story with every move. Rogers' career longevity and her resistance to being pigeonholed deeply resonated with Monroe, who fought her own battles against Hollywood's narrow expectations. It is impossible to understand Monroe's screen persona without acknowledging the profound influence of Jean Harlow.
I think I sat home all day looking at bracelets. Ha! Of all the dumb bunnies. What do you think I'm doing while you're out pulling your dirty deals?
The original blonde bombshell, Harlow combined sensuality with a playful innocence that Monroe sought to channel in her own work. Jean made being sexy seem sweet, Monroe said. She laughed at it. She made you love her, not just want her. Monroe often cited Harlow as her idol, studying her films meticulously to absorb the rhythm and nuance of her performances. Yet Monroe would go on to imbue that template with her own fragility and yearning, creating something altogether new. The enigmatic Greta Garbo, with her aloof beauty and emotional intensity, represented the apex of cinematic artistry for Monroe.
The reddest thing I've ever seen.
It's rather warm in here.
You think so? I'm quite cold.
That's very odd.
Garbo had mystery, Monroe said. You watched her and wondered what she was thinking, what she was feeling, and she never gave it all away. Monroe admired Garbo's refusal to over-explain her characters, trusting the audience to do the work. This lesson in restraint became particularly important to Monroe as she developed her own craft, learning when to hold back and when to let the mask slip. The Little Tramp's blend of comedy and heartbreak profoundly shaped Monroe's understanding of performance. Chaplin demonstrated that humor and pathos were not opposites, but companions, a lesson Monroe internalized. Charlie made you laugh, she reflected, but he also made you want to cry. That's real acting. Monroe's own comedic turns, from the ditzy sugarcane in Some Like It Hot to the scheming Lorelei Lee in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, are suffused with a similar undercurrent of vulnerability. Chaplin's commitment to storytelling without cynicism, his deep empathy for the outsider, resonated with Monroe's own struggles. In her best performances, one can see the echoes of Chaplin's belief that laughter and sadness often walk hand in hand. Topping Monroe's list is the man she revered above all others, Clark Gable.
Look, all I want is $39.60. And if you give me a check for it, I'll get out of this joint. It gives me the jitters.
Her affection for Gable was rooted not merely in admiration, but in something almost familial. She once confessed, "When I was a little girl and felt lonely, I'd pretend Clark Gable was my father." Gable embodied for Monroe an ideal of strength, warmth, and kindness, qualities she sought both on screen and in her personal life. Working with him on The Misfits was, by her own account, one of the high points of her career, even though the production was plagued by personal difficulties. "He was everything I dreamed he'd be," Monroe said. "Kind, patient, funny. He made me feel like I belonged." Their mutual respect shines through in The Misfits, a film suffused with melancholy and grace. In Gable, Monroe saw a model of what it meant to connect with audiences not through artifice, but through genuine humanity. He wasn't just a star, he was, in her eyes, an artist of the heart. Marilyn Monroe's list of favourite performers reveals as much about her own ambitions as it does about those she admired. She gravitated towards actors who combined technical skill with emotional truth, who dared to be vulnerable, who made the audience feel. They were, to her, proof that acting could be something transcendent, a reaching out, a breaking down of walls, a fleeting, luminous connection between souls. And in her finest moments, Monroe achieved exactly that.